Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our monthly summit. This month, we are talking about New Year, New You, very appropriate for the beginning month of 2022. And we will be speaking about how to scale our businesses to the next level this year. I'm sure a lot of us have started to set vision boards and started to set goals for our businesses. So we're all focused on really growing our businesses this year and making the impact and driving the mission forward that we all feel called to serve. I'm your host, Alona Lopari. I'm a business and marketing sales strategist, and I help mission driven entrepreneurs scale to 6 and 7 figures organically so they can align their purpose to their mission in their business without sacrificing income for impact. I also have an upcoming 5 days to 100K boot camp coming up on January 24, and I will include the link for that on the bottom of the summit for anyone that might be interested in learning my framework, my step-by-step framework based on the phase of business that you are in so that you can scale to those levels this year. So I'm going to start with my amazing guest, Keisha. Keisha is here with me today, and we will be speaking about how to achieve success in our business. So Keisha, thank you so much for finding time to join us on our summit today.
Thank you for having me. Hi,
Yeah,
everyone.
it's an absolute pleasure. Welcome, and give us a little introduction about yourself and what you do.
Well, again, my name is Keisha Houston, aka Mrs. Success Coach. I've been working with small business and entrepreneurs for about 20 something years. I've been doing a lot of, like you said, coaching and management consulting to be able to help companies and organizations, nonprofits as well, to be able to start from their root up. There are a lot of people who, have a business idea, they want to run with it, but don't always know which way to go about it. And then we have seasoned companies and opportunities for our, like you said, corporations to be able to say, you know what, I need a checkup. I need to check my inventory. I need to see what's profitable, what's not doing so well, and how to be able to grow my business. So I actually go in to do an assessment, which is the management consulting part, and then coach their CEOs and their managers on how to base their bottom line, but then also to be able to use the tools and the digital technology to be able to leverage their business. So everything that I do, I start thinking about how we can do things digital, how we can use IT, information technology, to be able to broaden our business and to be able to get it to where we want it to be. That includes planning, brainstorming, what avenues, whether we're testing products, whether we're looking at software, just to be able to go in and just say, you know what, let's do a checkup, see where we are, and be able to find those solutions that are going to work for their business.
Hmm. Well, that's beautiful. Because we have a lot of similarity, right? Because we also understand, me and you, that in order to scale, you need to be also understand how to become
Yeah,
profitable and how
correct.
have system is in place. Because obviously, without that, then we are always hustling and
Yes,
solopreneuring until
correct.
we're the chokehold of our business. So
Yes,
we cannot really scale. I can't speak today. I had a meeting before this, so
it's
I think
okay.
warm me out. It is Thursday, almost the end of the week,
Yes.
and maybe that's also what's happening. But anyway, it's definitely a very important topic. So tell us a little bit more about how is it that you help your client, or what is it that entrepreneurs need to know as far as becoming more profitable and also scaling with those systems that you mentioned.
Like you said, basically what we do, like whether you're publishing, whether you're authoring, whether you are, learning how to, like you said, coach others and or to be able to have a product to sell. I tell my customers right now that we need to make sure that we're doing our research. Definitely do your research as far as when you are trying to find out what your competition is doing. Definitely look at your SWOT analysis. You want to know your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and the technology and the tough times that are going to come. We don't always be able to predict what we're going to be able to face, but I also tell people to take a look at the challenges that they think and try to anticipate, because at the end of the day, we don't know what's coming, especially with the pandemic. That is huge right now with a lot of my customers, whether they're brick and mortar, whether they're virtual, whether they're trying to still meet their clients in person. We are trying to find ways to now get some of their businesses from brick and mortar for meeting one on one to virtual. I mean, something as simple as that, to be able to put their business on a grander scale, to be able to utilize Zoom, to be able to use Facebook Live, to be able to use, watch parties and different things that are digital, whether to be able to, confirm and grow to scale their business. So there are so many people, especially here in Baltimore, Maryland, there are still brick and mortar guys, and they are not using technology to where they need to be. So it's, kind of that hand holding, but in the opportunity to be able to, lift them up, encourage them, inspire them to be able to use digital technology, whether it's your social media content creation, management, just learning the basics. I've been doing a lot of training on just digital technology, being able to get them off of their one-on-ones in person to actually do virtual. So this is being huge for these particular businesses on this side of town, actually.
Mm. Yeah, no, absolutely. There's so many traditional businesses that need to figure out how to pivot or have had to out
Correct.
of necessity
Correct.
because of what we're going through. So I know a lot of times the challenge with that becomes of how do we still keep our current
Correct.
clients? How do we align in really learning new skills, new digital technology skills, or digital marketing skills or sales skills,
Correct.
bringing our brand message online. And
Correct.
I know that a lot of times that could be confusing because maybe they have a
Very.
service or a product I
Yes.
think you can bring online
Correct.
today, but maybe a service that you can only offer
Correct.
locally. How
Correct.
do you pivot now to maybe bring a different dimension of that service
Correct.
online? So what do you think, where should people start with that based on your experience?
Well, like you said, I tell them start with someone like myself, like you said, management consultants and, digital consultants, as well as business coaches who are specializing in SEO. They're specializing in website design. They're specializing in digital content creation so that you can be able to have a strategy session with them, use the time wisely, and you know that it's an investment that is critical to your business. If you have, a product that, like you said, it's only a physical product, think about ways to be able to turn them digital. Find ways to work with your consultant or their coach to be able to utilize all of the different steps in the plans. Definitely have a plan. Work with them to be able to get a plan, to make it concrete and be able to put the action in process. If you have to hire somebody, I do recommend that a lot of clients, they do, hire management consultants and business coaches to be able to work with them either weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly to be able to utilize what the plans and the communication and skills that they're going to be able to have. The product itself will sell itself, but like you said, to be able to digitize it, to be able to create a brand, a marketing project and campaign around that brand, and then also to be able to learn how to properly execute it. A lot of my clients do not have time because they're working on, trying to push, 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 push and make the product, but then they don't have time to actually do the work behind it. So I advise them to, if you're not, like you said, not going to hire me, which usually they do, but to be able to work with someone, and I have resources that I will actually give them if I'm not able to do the work. So like I said, to be able to, create a plan, to be able to work to execute it, and then be able to then follow up to find out if the results are worth it. Where your bottom line is, are you being able to, see the growth and to be able to work on a timeline moving forward to be able to find a way to capitalize on everything that you learned.
Mm-hmm. No, it's so right what you said, especially with hiring help and delegating and really finding that person that really has those skills that maybe you don't have yet, until you learn or until your strategy is to grow on that area. Because there are so many people today that have no problem managing your social media or your
Correct.
marketing or whatever area in your business that you might need the most attention with, as far as to where you are leaving money on the table. That's usually
Exactly.
how I always focus myself, and help my clients do the same with where are you
Correct.
leaving money on the table, where is there opportunity. And if you are not the only one that needs to wear all these hats. A lot of times,
Correct.
brick and mortar businesses, you're
Yes.
wearing all the hats,
Correct.
and you didn't really have to pivot in this manner. But right now, I
Correct.
feel like the pivot is also a growth opportunity where
Correct.
you have to expand and grow and come out of your
Correct.
comfort zone that you've been used to for so many years,
Yes.
and hire help if that's the
Correct.
strategy, if that's the right thing for you at that moment, based on your profit and your cash flow and all of that,
Correct.
right? Having a good
Yes.
financial department is definitely very important
Yes.
to make right decisions. You
Yes.
want to make the right step-by-step decisions. Otherwise, you can
Correct.
get into trouble in other areas. But yeah, there's definitely help out there. So that is definitely great advice that you gave right there. Keisha, I'm curious, how did you get into what you're doing today? How's your journey been so far?
Well, like I said, I am an entrepreneur slash jack of all trades. I'm an author. I am also, like you said, publisher. I do digital technology as well as, I have so many businesses of my own. To be honest, I started out just modeling after my mom. Actually, she was an entrepreneur. She had me all over the place, with vendor management, with learning how to be her assistant when it came to being a Mary Kay professional. She was in Mary Kay for over, I want to say, 11, 12 years. So I was her assistant, in all things, whether it's product management, inventory, whether it's understanding her sales receipts. So I got an inside look of how a Mary Kay business, at home business to be exact, women owned business. And that kind of inspired me to be able to say, you know what, I can do this. My dad was a manager at a grocery store chain. And it was one of those things where I said, you know what, I can combine the best of both worlds. I can, work as contract management. I can do anything that I want to do, whatever I set my mind to. So I started my first business was actually writing a poetry book. Actually, in college, I wrote a poetry book, and I literally hustled them out of my book bag, guys. In college to be able to say, you know what, I can do this. Then I learned how to do my taxes. I learned how to do the AIN number. I learned how to do my own business. So by the time I finished college, my 4 year Bowie State University, yay, I had my first official business, and it actually was K Morrison Company. I've not, like you said, grown since then, and that was my aspiration to have my own business because I learned that there were so many opportunities that were available, but because of my family situation, I was not able to be in broadcast journalism as a communications media professional. So it was just like, what do you do now that you've gotten this 4 year degree, but yet there are jobs available? I was like, you know what? While I'm waiting, why don't you start your own company? Why don't you do the things that you love to do? And it started out as marketing, advertising, public relations. I love writing press release. I love writing, period, and articles and blogs, and to be able to help people to brand their business. So I was learning all this in school, and I was like, why not do this on your own then? So I started out with my church. Actually, I started with my church. I volunteered. I started doing their website, started doing their press releases for different events and articles. And I started wanting to be the face of their business and their organization. And the pastor allowed me to do it. And from then, I just started working with other small businesses, other like entrepreneurs, people in my community. I was like, hey, Miss Keisha, I have a tow truck business. And I was like, all right, where's your business plan? Like, what are you going to do with this? And they're just looking at me like, how do you know all of this? I said, because I do my work. I do my research. I look up everything. I use the Small Business Administration. I look at all the free resources and tools that I have, and it's brought me here today. Like I said, we have a marriage, relationship, life coaching business as well. I have a brand new brand, KB Absolute Fashion. I wear my own brand. So it's like learning how to monopolize and use your gifts and talents to your ability to find out what works for you. So that's how been able to grow, rather. And we have about 5 different businesses. So that's kind of how I got started.
Wow, that is amazing. That's the true definition of resourcefulness to me, just like how you just described your entire life journey,
Pretty
and
much.
how you just pretty much
Incredible phenomenon. This is not what's happening in the
uh,
world.
learned along the way to
Yes.
to be resourceful, and I'm sure all
Mhm.
of that has really shaped the
Yes.
character and the personality you have today. And it seems like you're the go-to person. You have like you have all these resources that you
Pretty
can share
much.
with people. And
Yes.
I always say, learning and, and going through many things in life, it's always a great thing
Yes.
because you have so much more value now to bring to
Yes.
other people because you've been there,
Correct.
you've done
Correct.
that. So you just become a more valuable person overall, maybe not just in
Correct.
business, but also in life. And I think that just
Yes, ma'am.
adds to the value that you can create in the world as well. So, well,
Yes.
kudos to you. That's
Thank
absolutely
you.
and very, very inspiring for sure. And a lot of times I like to share the journey
Yeah.
of people that we have on because, we want to hear that we're not alone. Sometimes this journey can get lonely. There's so many
Yes.
challenges along the way.
Yes.
It's not roses and
Nope.
peaches and
It is not.
the whole time, right? As you might want to share with us. So I think a lot of times we have to understand that it's a journey, a step by step,
Yes.
and then we're all, as long as we're growing in the right
Correct.
direction, we all have to just pace ourselves in our own speed and compare ourselves to
Yes.
ourselves because we can have a lot of other stuff of comparison and really feel bad about the things we're doing. So is there something that you'd like to share with us? Any maybe a challenge or two that you had to overcome for someone that might be hearing us today?
Well, the main challenge, like you said, as an entrepreneur, you have your ebb and flows. So there was like you said, there were times where business was not doing as well as I had anticipated, and it felt like everything just had dried up. And I said, well, you know what? There's always a time. Like I needed someone like you, to help me with growth strategies and to be, connecting. And I just felt like I wasn't connecting on the level where I wanted to be. I felt like there was just something more that I had to give, but it helped me to be able to know that there were groups that are available. There were opportunities where I could network, and we had the small business. I mean, it was like literally every week we were at a business meeting. We were, at the Chamber of Commerce, for the local community. But it was just like, what other companies that are women based, that I can maybe, piggyback off, but not so much in that copying what they're doing, but having a model. I felt like I didn't have a true model where I could, model my business after, but then make it my own. So I started learning how to, yes, create it from scratch. And for me, that was the hardest thing to do because I was like pulling from straws and pulling from different things. And I was like, well, I want my business to be unique. And then I just drew a blank and I got frustrated. I just felt like I was just not having the wherewithal to be able to move forward, and I honestly just took a pause. I went back to work full time. Like you said, I'm a data analyst slash management analyst in my IT full time work. Previously, so I literally took another job, and I will be honest with you. I take jobs here and there when I do feel like I need to be able to have a backup for my family. There are times where business was so slow, I didn't have a choice but to take freelance opportunities because I did not have a backup. I am usually the one doing most of the work, and I am a one person, a business. But at the end of the day, it was myself who had to get out of that thinking to be able to start outsourcing some of the work that I needed to be done. And then once I said, you know what, I can no longer work for someone else. I'm not concerned about the lack of. I'm going to be concerned about what's coming in, where I'm going, start reinventing myself as well as reinventing my business. So it's been a continual challenge, literally off and on. I continue to get certifications, get training because I refuse to go back to work for someone else when I have multiple opportunities to be able to grow. So this is kind of why I reached out and I wanted to join the group. I said, you know what? This year's my year. This is my time to break out. I'm no longer going to hide behind another company when I'm doing all this work for them, when I can literally spend the time to work for myself, to build my
Mhm.
independence, to empower myself, and to be able to use these groups like yourself to be able to say, you know what, I got to invest in myself. I encourage my clients to invest in me, but now I need some support. I need to build a support system. Honestly, I went from one county in Maryland to a new county. So this is a new area for me. I don't know anybody. So it's hard because I need to now reintroduce myself to the community to be able to let them know the businesses that we have. So that's been a challenge for me, is to say, you know what, with everything going on, the pandemic, everybody's not on Zoom. There's still a meeting in person. So I have to kind of be, diplomatic and strategic about where I'm meeting, when I'm meeting, and how long the meeting is going to be. And there's been so many instances where people have gotten sick and have sent emails afterwards saying, hey, I need you to get tested because someone got sick at our meeting. And I'm just like, wow, wow. So we have a
Mm,
whole new can of worms to deal with now with this pandemic happening. So a lot of things, are changing, and change management is good for your business. But sometimes you got to step back, like I say, do a checkup from the neck up and figure out where you're lacking as a person, as an individual, and as a business. And once you figure out and plan those three things, you can be able to clear your mind, declutter, and find out, like you said, exactly where your money is being left behind. And
mm.
that's what I have to give.
I think what you just said that stuck with me right there, besides all the great vulnerability that you shared with us. And I really feel like more of us need to share those sides because,
Mhm.
we only a lot of times share the wins, especially
Correct.
on social media. And we can tend to get this wrong message that,
Mhm.
it's easy and it should
It's
be
not.
easy. So we really get the wrong perception over entrepreneurship. So I love
Mhm.
that you said that, especially when you said that I have to get other jobs. Same thing with
Yes.
me. I had to do my business while I was working full time. You
Yes.
have to sacrifice. You
Yes.
have to do what you have to do in order to get to where you want to go. So if you need to get
Correct.
a part-time job, if you need to get a project that gives you some security while you're building
Exactly.
it, because that's the thing with business, it's
Yes.
inconsistent. And yes, there's now a lot of things you can do to set systems in place and all
Correct.
of that for consistency. But unfortunately, if you haven't been exposed to all of that yet,
Correct.
or if that's not something that's the other thing with entrepreneurship is you don't know what you don't know. So you just feel
Correct.
like, this is too hard. And I know
Yes.
so many entrepreneurs now that are going back to get
Correct.
jobs,
Correct.
traditional jobs, because it just takes too long. The journey
It
just takes
is.
too long, and they're not getting the traction they want. So
Correct.
definitely do what you have to do to get to where you want to go, but never let go of that vision.
Mhm.
And what you also said, we have a lot of similarity there. It's I'm never going back to work for
Nope.
someone else. So that
Nope.
is your motivator and your why to just
Yep.
keep going and
Correct.
keep keep at it, keep growing,
Yes.
keep investing in yourself, so
Correct.
that you can get to the levels that you want. It's absolutely so true. All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Keisha, for everything you
You're
shared so far. I
welcome.
have another guest on, Charmaine.
Mhm.
I don't know if she is ready to come on, and share with us what she does and um, give us a little introduction. Charmaine?
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Welcome. How are you?
Welcome.
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking.
So
All
nice to
right.
have you here, part of our summit today. So tell us a little bit more of who you are and what you do.
All right. So, as you, I don't know if all your guests can see or hear, but my name is Charmaine
Yeah,
Shuttles,
we can see and hear you very well.
and I'm an entrepreneur as well. I have a few businesses. One of them is a travel agency, which I don't have to explain how that was affected during the pandemic. I'm also an author. I just published my first book, and
Wow.
I'm working on my second. And I also keynote speaker and a doctoral student. I'm almost completed with my doctoral studies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm also a mother of two children. My son is 11 and my daughter 8. They've also published their own books. I guess the pandemic inspired us to publish. And And so, yes. So when my main business was a travel agency, and I was sending about 300 people to Israel. I worked with a lot of church groups, and I would send about 300 people to Israel each month. And when the pandemic came, that business crashed like almost to nothing.
Wow.
No one, no
Mm,
one was traveling for at least a year or two, and so I had to find something else to do to to pick up the pieces and to pay my bills and
mm,
take care of my children. Um, so I've had to go on back into the corporate world and work for someone else, but I did not lose my focus. I know that a lot of people give up and throw their hands in the air, and with the help of goal setting and coming up with a purpose and a focus, I kept the fire burning. So I still have the travel business, although it's slowly coming back. But I know that one day the travel industry is going to get back to where it used to be. Since
Mm-hmm.
the pandemic, I taught myself how to paint, and so I now have an art gallery online, and I'm also the owner of the publishing company that published my books. So there you have it. Entrepreneur
Wow.
at
Well,
heart.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Hmm.
I said, there you have it. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I will stop at nothing to go to reach my dreams and to achieve the goals that I set for myself.
Well, that's absolutely beautiful and very inspiring. And that's exactly what, we were chatting about before, how to really pivot or reposition yourself from maybe traditional business, in your case, a travel agency, into the online world. So you've been able to sort of figure out, work on other hobbies, work on other passions that maybe you had before that you didn't have the time to develop. And you have been able to pivot those and take that online and give birth to some new businesses. Sounds like a publishing company. That was one, right? And you also mentioned something else.
The
And you
art
have your
gallery.
art. Hmm.
So I taught myself how to paint, and I have been selling a lot of art online. I've also collaborated with other young artists, and so they also showcase their art pieces, their artwork in my gallery, and that's doing very well so far.
Awesome. That's absolutely beautiful. And Charmaine, I was going to ask you for your publishing. How is it that someone that might have an idea of writing a book, where is it that they could start, since that's how you're going to help other people with your publishing company, right? So if someone has been wanting to write a book, or whether it's good positioning or marketing tool in their business, or they just feel like they have a lot of knowledge that they like to package and unpack for other people to get a message or share their message or their brand, where is it that they could start? What would you
So,
recommend?
so the first thing they have to do is they have to decide if they have enough information to and they to write a book, or if they want us to ghost write for them. So if they have the information already, like I did, I was writing for 10 years. I was journaling, just writing things down randomly. And when the pandemic came, I had enough time on my hands to put things together and to uh, to get my book out there. So if they have the information already and they just want us to edit and proofread for them, we provide those services: editing, proofreading, copywriting, and we do line by line editing. But if they don't have the information, they can just tell us what they want to write, and we can ghost write for them. So, a good little journal, a little book. You can have a little book of and just write your thoughts down as to what you want to write. Put your goals on paper and set or write down little goals that can help you to reach the bigger goals. So you're setting reachable goals to reach bigger goals. In my case, I was forced into it. But if you definitely know that you want to write, reach out to us. I can put my website in here and my phone number. You can call me for step by
Yeah.
step as to what steps you want to take to get your book started. It's the first step is to get it started and to tell yourself that, look, I'm going to write my book this year. So sometimes you have to talk to yourself, you know, what they call self-talk. Tell yourself that, look, I want to do this. What do I need to do this? And so that's where we come in.
Definitely set it as a goal, and it's important. I mean, what you said is there's now you've been through that journey, so you can help someone that has that idea or maybe doesn't know where to start, right? Because a lot of times it's we our brains make everything look more complicated than it actually is, but everything is really a process that can be broken down, and you're able to help other people with that. Charmaine or even Keisha, because also Keisha is also an author. How do you think a book can help spread your message and impact that you want to have with your audience and really help you grow your business?
You want to go first, Keisha?
Sure. So, like you said, I have, like you said, I wanted to do self-help books. So even though I had poetry books, my self-help books range from my memoir. It's like a 10-year journey called Succeed Anyway, despite all expectations. It literally talks about a failed marriage, a postpartum depression. It talks about just avoiding your negative emotions and everything that I had to go through to get to where I am now. A lot of people, needed that. They see me like, oh, you look, so strong. You look so this, and this. And I said, well, you don't have a clue of what I've had to come through and to endure to get to this point. And for me, it was just wanting to be able to help somebody else to not make the same mistakes, to not have to, want to live up to your parents' expectations or even your own unrealistic expectations. So that's what it talks about. Well, despite all in any circumstance, you succeed anyway. So I literally, wanted to be able to have that message out as not, like you said, not just an entrepreneur, but a mom, a woman, like you said, woman of God, so I started working more towards, helping us to work on ourselves. I was so busy helping everybody else or, running a business or working for somebody else. And there were days where I was 2 hours in commute one way. And I literally would just do voice memos and I would try to fill my, head up with all these positive affirmations so that I would not feel depressed when I got home. And it was like, what is your point? What is your purpose? Why are you not living your purpose? And I said, you know what? If there was something that, if something happened to me, honestly, what would you want to leave your 10-year-old daughter? She was like 9 or 10 then. And I wrote a book, Look Good and Feel Good in Your Own Skin. So I do that when I write something. What is it that will help them to be them true selves, to be authentic, to humble themselves and understand who they are and whose they are. What is your purpose? So I talk a lot about succeeding anyway, despite whatever is going on in your life. And that is kind of how I set the tone for self-care. I talk a lot about self-care versus self-sabotage. So it's everything that I'm dealing with sometimes is what I write about, honestly. In business, I struggle with trying to write a business plan. So I started a handbook, how to write an effective business plan. And it was just really short and small, short and sweet. I wanted to work on unconditional love. So I wrote a little chapter book about unconditional love because my husband and I do marriage mentor coaching. We're ministers. So we literally, come into contact with this about, well, what is love? And I literally start thinking, what can I do quickly that people can just quickly read and something resonate with them. I don't care if it's just one thing. That's my hope and my prayer that there's something that resonates with them to better themselves. So that's how I do it.
Mhm. Beautiful.
Okay.
Charmaine, do you have anything to add?
Yeah. So it's seems as if we're in the same shoes, Keisha. I can resonate with a lot of what you're doing. My first book was a memoir as well. It's entitled Every Single Step.
Wow.
And it's every single step I had to take to get to where I am. All the
Yep.
failures, all the
Mhm.
disappointments, all the bullying and
Correct.
things I had to go through to get to where I am today. So my second book is also self care, but it's a journal.
Yep.
It's entitled Start Where You Are. So
Amen.
no matter where you are today, forget about the past, forget about what you didn't accomplish, and start out with your purpose. What do you
Correct.
think is your purpose? Look into yourself really deep
Mm-hmm.
and write things down if you have
Yes.
to, and and then and have somebody help you to structure
Mm-hmm.
your purpose and your goals, and um, and just do things one step at a time.
Correct.
It won't happen all at once. So every time you achieve something or every time you failed, and failure is not bad.
No.
Failure means that you are you won't do those things you did. You're going to change what you did that didn't work out to make the thing that you really want to do to achieve what you really want to achieve. So yes, I mean we have different lives, but we are sending the same messages. It seems.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Well, talk about synergy. My latest book was definitely about very similar to what you said, Charmaine, of connecting the dots. And I speak about my experience as well, as if everything that I've gone through has really
Mm-hmm.
prepared me and shaped the character and the purpose that I feel today. And I'm sure whatever's happening right now is in perfect harmony so that it could build us the
Yes.
future that we want. So, we will
Absolutely.
close with that. That's a beautiful message. I want to thank both of you. Thank you so much for
Thank
sharing both
you.
your experience and for being amazing guests of our summit today. And I want to thank you all for watching as well. And we will see you next month with a new theme and a new summit. Bye, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
that.